So that last episode, I was listening in, trying to catch up. Only caught the first few minutes on my drive to work and was thinking to myself, Jared's really leaning in heavy to this Pokemon stuff today. And it was only until you actually said about changing the show, I realized it was a prank. I just thought, because I know you guys like Pokemon, I just thought you were in a Pokemon kind of mood for that day for whatever reason.
Got to catch them all, man.
It's so funny. So Jared messages me on Slack off, just a DM. He slid into my DMs, as they say, and he goes, "Hey, I've got a great idea for April Fool's joke."
I said I've got
Meg.
a stupid idea. Is what I said.
Oh yeah, that's right. He says we're just gonna lean into this Pokemon thing, and we're not gonna let Meg know anything.
I was like, we'll stop the bit as soon as she says, what is happening? That's the key word. As soon as she says, what is happening, that's when we'll drop it.
But it was so smooth. It was so smooth. I just thought it was casual Pokemon conversation.
Well, good. What wasn't smooth was me trying to put on my Ash hat, my Ash Ketchum hat. That could easily be misunderstood if I say it wrong. I'm trying to put on my Ash hat, but like I couldn't get it on over my headphones. So here I am live on the stream like, oh no, my hat. It's key to the bit. Anyway, I had a hard time wrestling my 3-year-old for the Charmander plush. She didn't want me to have it on the podcast. It's like, this is an important prank that 2 or 3 people are going to laugh at. Listen, I need this.
Well, on the audio only version, it was flawless.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Audio only. Perfect. Well, glad to have you with us, Trev, here on our perfectly good Saturday afternoon, because, hey, we got to play around with time zones. Freddie just rolled out of bed over there in California. Trevor's already on the glass of wine because it's, getting to be the evening.
It's been a long week.
And if you're listening to this, it might be a Thursday night. We're going to be watching this live in the premiere this Thursday. I fully anticipate to be right there with you in the chat. So what's up, everybody here with us in the chat? Hopefully there are people here in the chat. It's a little bit of a different show, but I'm excited. We've really been hyping this episode for a couple months now, right, Freddie?
Yeah. We've been wanting to cover a lot of these lost legends, which, to be honest, I didn't know too much about until we started talking about it. And there is quite a bit of info there.
Yeah, a lot of corpses on the sides of the highway in Legends, and some of them come back to life. I mean, just like Palpatine. Yeah, if you want to find out some more about some of these lost stories that have fallen by the wayside in the expanded universe, this is the place to be. We have got quite the show ready for you. So without further ado, let's kick it off.
From a galaxy far, far away.
And a bookshelf straight out of the 90s.
From Thrawn to Dantooine.
And everything in between. This is Legends Lookback.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends Lookback, a show brought to you by Utini.com, a Star Wars books podcast for people who have the Ewok TV show theme song playing on repeat, where we talk about all things Legends, celebrating our rich EU history, as well as diving into lesser-known Star Wars classics, or perhaps Star Wars classics that don't quite exist, but almost did. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm your host, Jared Mays, and today, looking like Lando Calrissian himself, is my friend, Freddie C. What's up, Freddie?
Why, hello there. Doing fantastic. I just rolled out of bed. This is my shirt for the day and still wearing my pajama bottoms. So
the classic Zoom combo.
Exactly. But I'm excited. It's a good
Thanks
episode.
for waking up early for us, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Anything for Trevor.
Also ready to do her Ventress impression with us this week. Kind of, maybe, probably not, is our producer, Meg Dowell.
Not this week. I'm not ready. Hello.
It might happen. Somebody paid real money for it, probably.
Yeah, I will do it. I made a promise on camera. It will happen, just not yet.
I got to admit, I was watching some of the Tartakovsky Clone Wars, and oh my gosh, that's going to be a tough impression to do. I don't think I would try it in a million years if it was me, personally. So glad that he asked you to do it instead of me.
When someone challenges me to do something, I have a very hard time saying no, and I have a very hard time accepting that I might fail. So you'll get it. Don't worry.
Does it count if you don't shave your head?
You know what? You're not the first person who's brought that up, and I have nothing to say about it right now.
I mean, I don't know that it would work as a look for anything other than the bit, but it would be worth it for the bit. People would be like, Meg, why'd you shave your head? And you'd be like, well, I've got a podcast.
I love this show and I love all of you, but maybe not that much.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do it either. That's fine. That's fine. Well, you have heard him now. He started the show off for us. We always love having him here on Legends Look Back. Now he has his own podcast, which is absolutely one of my favorites in the Utiniverse. Joining us this week from across the pond is our buddy Trevor Davey.
Good afternoon, morning, evening, all simultaneously right now.
Yeah.
Trev, I'm glad to have you here with us on the show this week. I've got to say, man, Star Wars Archives, I was telling you in Slack yesterday, I love it like a stepchild. It's like
I loved that. I instantly turned around to my wife and said, look at what Jared's just said. That gave me a warm, cozy feeling in my heart.
It's like that and cafes, as soon as they hit my feed, I listen to them immediately. Sometimes I'll be in the middle of another podcast and I'm like, chuck the phone. I want to listen to these my stepchildren podcasts. What do you have coming up on the pipe with Star Wars Archives?
Well, we're doing Jackson the Space Rabbit episode. Yes. We're going to try and fill a whole hour. And
I just wrote the Jackson collection. Hopefully that'll be coming out soon.
That will be up by the time you're listening to this or watching this.
Way. Awesome. It's like the perfect Easter topic, right? The space money.
Exactly. And I don't want to spoil what we're going to talk about. So I'm not going to give your listeners the hints. They're going to have to come and subscribe to our Patreon and listen to our podcast.
Got to throw us those credits.
And then we're going to do an episode on just retcons, which Andrew on the team suggested to us. So
man, my brain is already hurting.
Mannerisms of retcons that have appeared in the 40 years of Star Wars publishing.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So excited. And speaking of Star Wars publishing, have we got the Legends news this week? I mean, we just had recording this on a Saturday. It was the Friday. I was settling in to binge watch the Tartakovsky Clone Wars. Maybe had some Ewoks on the docket as this new stuff has hit the what are we calling this? The vintage collection on Disney Plus. And then I threw all of the rest of my day's plans out the window and spent a good 2 or 3 hours screaming about, I would call it the biggest day for us as Legends fans since the fateful day when Legends became Legends, right? When the EU was yeeted into, into the Legends universe. Do you think, Freddie, that this was the biggest day for us as Legends fans since that fateful day in April of 2014?
Yeah, I didn't find out about this until I started looking at the show notes, and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on?
What did I miss?
What did I miss? And then I went to go research it, and I just can't believe it. The fact that Legends still is permeating Star Wars, they clearly know that we exist, right? I mean, it must be our show.
That's what it is. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, good luck trying to get through all of the Discord conversations about this. Had hundreds and hundreds of messages as we exchanged across multiple channels for hours and hours and hours, sharing in excitement over this. Tell the good people what's coming up. Freddie, start us off.
Yeah, so we've got some new covers, as Jared explained, for some of our Legends books, and they've got a nice banner at the top that I believe says the Essential Legends Collection, which is a banner that I don't mind having on my books. So we've got some nice art from Heir to the Empire. It screams such. You've got Thrawn just evilly looking to his side, and of course the original cover with the lightsaber in the air. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, the history of Heir to the Empire covers is interesting, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there's so many different types.
You got the shirtless Sabayoth, the classic Tom Young covers. Then in 2016, right, we had the new Heir to the Empire, but with way more Thrawn covers, right? 275% more Thrawn across the 3 covers, which I might go ahead and have to buy, because Jacob on the team asked me, how many versions of this book do you own? And I was like, all right, let's do the math. Pulled out the spreadsheets, grab the books off the shelves. I own it in the original, hardback. I've got the paperback, the Tom Young art. I've got the ebook, because I remember purchasing it when I was away on vacation 10 years ago or so, and I needed to read it on ebook right then, right there. I got the audio, like the Audible version, and this would put me to 6. How have I miscounted? You got the comics, the hardback, oh my gosh, 5 or 6 versions of the book. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Hold on.
You have
now,
a favorite
Jared.
cover,
Hold
Trevor?
on. I think I might have to give you something to bring your number up.
Okay.
Have you seen the Brazilian covers?
Oh yeah. They're excellent. I've got them as screensavers across like my phones
They're
and
my
stuff.
favorite cover. What, you
I
don't
haven't
have a Brazilian covered Heir to the Empire in your collection?
I haven't considered trying to get them.
Oh.
But now I'm thinking about it. Okay. If we got any listeners in Brazil, hey, what's up? I'm Jared. Nice to meet you. So, want to say these are really cool, great renditions. I like the Heir to the Empire cover. Talk about the next one here, Bane. I just called you Bane. Sorry. Talk about the next one here, Trevor.
So the next book that's been announced in this series, Darth Bane: Path of Destruction, and oh my god, the cover on this one, it's incredible. I want this hanging on my wall as a canvas. That's a beautiful cover. I think that's
that
one
thing
of
will
the
give you nightmares,
nicest
though.
covers ever.
Yeah, if you like Sith Lords who will stare into your soul, I don't think I could put this on my wall, man.
I think it's beautiful. That's a work of art.
It is great. It is excellent. It's actually interesting to consider the long history of Bane's depiction across different Star Wars media. Of course, revealed in the Jedi versus Sith comic.
It's been different.
The early 2000s, which was quite cartoony. I've got the new essential characters companion from like the early to mid 2000s, which he's got that big spiky purple helmet. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's the depiction off the cover of the original Path of Destruction cover, and then you've got the infamous Rule of Two cover, which of course looks like it was made on a PS1, right? The story there, of course, is that the original artist, it was rushed into production, so he didn't get time to finish the cover. The foreign editions, some of the foreign editions, Skooma Joe is talking about this in our Discord channel.
Yeah, I think it's the Japanese one.
Okay, yeah, the Japanese edition has consistent art across, with the other 2 books in the trilogy. I gotta say though, this is really just phenomenal. And thirdly, in this first wave of books, and they have said, hey, there's more to come. They kind of hinted at maybe we'd be getting an X-Wing one coming up soon, which is exciting. Just in time for us to do another X-Wing episode, or should we call it Exisode? Oh no, edit that out.
Oh my god.
And let's put that in the ejector seat and just shoot it out of the cockpit. The deal is this third one, Shatterpoint, is great. Kind of an interesting third choice, but maybe I should give it a reread. I didn't love it my first time around. Of course, Stover is absolutely critically acclaimed as one of the best Legends authors out there. So I'm excited to pick this up, and maybe most excited, the thing I'm most excited for. Meg, you want to tell him about the other thing that was announced?
Yes, I do.
It's also a Shatterpoint thing.
Yes. We're also getting, for the first time ever, an unabridged audiobook version of Shatterpoint, because there isn't one, or there hasn't been until now.
It's debatable. All right, I saw some banter on Reddit that there is, but it's only for the deaf, right? And it's not accessible to the public. It's crazy.
I only found out about these recently, these unabridged audio library editions for the hard of hearing.
Yeah, we were at Uchini like, all right, we got to get on the dark web to find these things. We have not as of yet, but we're tempted. I'm excited for this.
Existed.
I'm excited for this one in particular. The narrator for the Shatterpoint audiobook is, well, I have it somewhere here. Sullivan Jones. Sullivan Jones is going to be narrating this, coming out June 15th. And across the board, the artists on these, we're going to give the artists a shout out. The Heir to the Empire cover is from Tracy Ching. The Bane cover is from Simon Goynard. Simon, sorry, I didn't do a great job with your name there, but it's great. I love your art. And Shatterpoint is by Jeff Manning. Guys, which one of these is your favorite?
Bane.
Yeah,
Bane. Okay, Freddie.
That Bane is really nice, but there's something about the artwork on the Thrawn cover that just screams at me. So I'm gonna have to go with the Heir to the Empire, Tracy Ching.
It is cool. You have a favorite, Meg?
That has to be Thrawn for me. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I need it on my
It's
shelf.
great. Yeah, I feel like now I'm gonna have to start an entire Thrawn bookcase. I've got my Thrawn poster from one of the Barnes and Noble exclusives. I've got a handful, actually several hands full of different Thrawn hardcovers and collectible editions. I've got the little Chimera pin that Corey sent us for Christmas or for Life
that's
Day,
so
excuse
cool.
me. We've got like the Thrawn Funko Pop. I might just have to go out and find that. I've got a Black Series. I'm gonna have a whole Thrawn bookcase so that he can come into my house and say, perhaps you have a problem. But let's be honest, we all do. I'm really excited about this. A lot of fun Legends news, so much so that we could just spend the rest of the episode talking about the rest of the Legends news. Quickly, though, before we get into the heart of the show, the meat of the show, is we do have some more news for a Rise of the Sith omnibus coming out in 2 different covers. We've got covers from... Well, I've had somewhere around here the names of the artists who have done these covers. I'll find it. Excited. It's actually, interestingly enough, kind of the same format they used for the Knights of the Old Republic collection. Now, Trevor, you were saying that these are basically just hardcover omnibuy of the Legends Epic collections?
Yeah, so it collects the first 2 Rise of a Sith era Epic collections. But one thing I've just noticed when you put that photo up, I hadn't looked at the artwork before.
Yeah, this
could
is
be
the
wrong
art
on this,
from the
but
Wrath of Darth Maul, right?
Yes, so that's the art from a young adult Scholastic book
Yeah.
being used on a Marvel omnibus.
I actually own
I saw
2
the artwork, that
hardcovers
blew
of
my
that on
mind.
accident. So now I'm going to have a third one. No. So the artist on the Maul cover is Fleming. It's the Fleming cover. And then the other one is the box cover, which is actually just the same artwork from Knights of the, I don't know, what is it called? The Orient Express, the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
Our Orient Express is a weird name. Yeah.
It's a Qui-Gon Obi-Wan Dark Horse comic series. So it's interesting actually because the comics that are collected in this are, for the most part, we could just call this the Qui-Gon omnibus. I mean, almost all of these are Qui-Gon centric stories, which has got me excited. Got my Qui-Gon Funko Pop over there on the shelf, looking like he's ready for action and needs me to buy both of these. Well, I'll get one. All right, I've already pre-ordered. I think I pre-ordered the Fleming one. That Maul art is excellent. Do you think you'll be picking this up?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It definitely has room in my collection, if that's what you mean.
Trevor, you got any more shelf space?
I'm working on it. I just find it incredible. The Marvel Legends Epic Collection, it's only a few years old, and already it's popular enough that it's getting this deluxe omnibus edition.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, none of us are going to complain about extra editions of anything.
That's right. Yeah, we're collectors here. Hey, you don't have to read them this way. All these issues are available on Marvel Unlimited or on Comixology. But this is really fun to have the nice hardback collectible version, especially having the 2 different covers. Kind of fun to pick pick your poison, if you will. These come out on sale in September. So excited about that. Now, we're going to get into the heart of the show. Oh, no, can't do that yet because I've got packages. Guys, I saved to open these until our mailbag segment. Almost forgot. Oh, my gosh. Got our Legends mailbag. I'm thinking about renaming this segment. All right, you ready? Here's my idea. Meg, go ahead and start preparing a graphic for this. Jose, Ryan, get ready. Here it is. All right. Thracken's thrift store. Getting thrifty with Thracken.
Oh my God.
Thracken sail solo. All right. Something like that. Working on it. It's going to happen. So I'm going to open these up. Here's the fun thing. I have no earthly idea what is in these packages. And helping do the honors today is my lightsaber screwdriver, because I don't have a knife in my desk, but I've got this. Here we go. You guys want to take any guesses on what do you think I've got in these 2 packages? One is from eBay. The other is from Discover Books. What is that?
All right. Let's see. First guess right off the bat. I'm going to assume you've got another, let's just say, collector's edition first print of Trusa Bakura.
Nope, not Trusa Bakura. Definitely didn't order any more of those. I already own 3 different versions of Trusa Bakura, Freddy. However, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yes.
To get in this new, what are we calling these things?
Epic Legends collections.
Essential Legends.
Essential. Oh my gosh, let's get an easier name. Come on. Yeah, I think we've
It's
actually
one
got
of
some
these-
mock-up artwork. Sorry, hold on to that, Meg. We'll come to it in a second. I've almost
Is
finished.
one of these packages the Glove of Darth Vader limited edition?
No, I've got a limited edition of one of those old young reader books. I'll find it and show you in the Slack. Oh, cool. Excited. Meg, did you want to take any last guesses before I show off what I've got here?
Something that you don't need, that you have purchased
Don't need.
anyway.
All right, here we go. This is the last of the paperback film novelizations that I didn't own for my shelves because I'm down to like my last 5 Legends, non-Legends banner paperbacks for this shelf, just in time for them to reprint these in an all-new size. So they're going to go on that shelf. This is the Attack of the Clones paperback.
Nice.
Looking ready for battle, ready for action.
Nice.
And the other one looks to be a comic. I'm guessing it is a High Republic. Oh yeah, I remember ordering this. Got the Walmart cover of High Republic #1.
Oh,
that's
nice.
This puts me
That's a nice
down
cover.
to only needing 2 out of the 10 different High Republic #1s. Yeah, this one. I went to so many Walmarts to find this. So many Walmarts and couldn't find it. So I
I'm
paid a
still
scalper.
waiting for my Cavan Scott signed #1 exclusive from Forbidden Planet, but I ordered at the end of November.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
They still haven't got this sorted.
They just
Good
put it
luck
in
with
a bottle, and they're just hoping
Yeah.
it gets to you.
He said on Twitter, someone else asked him the same question. He said on Twitter that Forbidden Planet haven't sent them to him to be signed yet. I may
Interesting.
have to cancel the order. I'm not sure that's happening.
Oh
Very
man,
interesting.
yeah. I just pre-ordered War of the Bounty Hunters #1 signed by Sewell from the same company, and am wondering if that is going to happen now. I've said that, so we'll see. We'll see. Do you guys have any new additions to show off on the show?
I've not had a new Star Wars package in a while, I'll be honest. It got crazy for a while, but then I finished everything. So it's been a bit slow.
Nothing wrong with that. You've got plenty of Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
I say as I open new things. Freddie, I see you looking for something.
Yeah, I just surprisingly it was missing from my bookshelf, and I either didn't buy it or I lost it. But I got book 3 of the Black Fleet Crisis: Tyrant's Test. So completing that collection.
That's the book that I called Tyrant's Nest for 20 years. Meg, what do you have to show off for your mailbag segment?
Hold on.
For Thracken's thrift store.
Well, okay. So last time, I had a Gar Saxon Funko to show off, which apparently he was in Legends. I didn't know. My bad.
I don't know if he was. It was like
he?
debatable.
I
didn't ever do the
don't-
Google
It's,
search.
it's
I
like
don't
Clone
know.
Wars Legends canon.
Okay, so
early
it's
Clone
that.
Wars.
Okay, well, he's great. I also I got a lot of Funkos the other day. This is a heavy infantry Mandalorian. So
Nice.
Excellent.
there's that.
I shall name him Ordo.
Is that the Jon Favreau Mandalorian? Is that the one that he voices?
Possibly.
Looks like it.
It looks
I
like
think
it, yeah.
so. Yeah. This.
Hey
Yeah,
guys,
that-
it's me, John. No, that's Dave. Hold on. I got it.
That's Dave.
Oh my god.
No, I can't do John. Well, maybe next week. If Meg does Ventress, I'll do John.
Oh, stop reminding me.
Oh, we're always adding to our collections, and we love that. Another fun thing, of course, is with these new Essential Legends collections. We've got 3, of course, that we've talked about here on the show today. We also have one that's been hinted, possibly could be getting an X-Wing one. I've got a few different ideas on what I would like to see. Guys, what would you like to see? What are some upcoming titles that might fit well into this? They're supposed to be like the best Legends books or the easiest to pick up for new readers. Like, what are the absolute essential Legends books that might get republished? What do you think, Freddie? You got a pick? I'm going to
Well,
guess what your pick is.
Yeah, I feel like everyone can guess what my pick is. Ruins of Dantooine.
Now, Tom, Darth, and
Oh,
Turnus.
but we would get a new cover. So it's long overdue.
Tom joked on Twitter that he would want to use the exact same cover.
No.
Which is great. Now, Meg, we've got a mock-up of this one, don't we? Freddie, our buddy Jacob in the UTN team, he did some mock-ups for us. We just for you, man. We made this cover. This is what I would like to see personally in the new Trusibakura Legends Epic. Dadgummit, what is this thing called? New Legends.
Essential Legends
collection. All right, show it off, Meg. Nope, not that one. Oh, we got it. Nope. There it is.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Space dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs with lasers.
my
A Star
it.
Wars story.
That is so good. I like it. It almost reminds me of like the video game Ark and Turok all mixed into one with some Star Wars mixed in there with the
It's
lasers.
a little Turok. Yeah.
Love it.
Excellent. Do you have a pick, Trevor?
I'd like to see, obviously they can't reprint all of Legends, but I'd just like to see the first books of trilogies or series.
Yeah.
So, the first X-Wing book, the first Corellian trilogy book. I just think the whole program it's a really good way to bring new readers back to old books. And that's what I love about it.
I demand that they print every single one of them.
Including iJedi?
iJedi. All right. Well, we've got a mock-up of iJedi.
Let's take a look. If we have it.
There it is. From Corey's legendary reading of iJedi for patrons only. If you don't know what this is in referral to, congratulations. I mean, you could if you want to join UTN's Patreon. It's probably still accessible. I don't know.
UTN's proudest moment.
Excellent. We've got some others. Obviously Kenobi would be an ideal choice. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, Kenobi. Yeah, so here's Maul yelling, Kenobi! That would be just the perfect cover, I think. Any others you got, Meg? Oh, yeah, Dark Empire. Come on. Come on, look at that cover. This actually kind of works, doesn't it, for a cover?
No.
It really does, honestly. I love it. I need to see that. Hey, Jared, I know you've got like some black market printing press. I'd like to see this.
It could happen.
Maybe we could get a version of the script of the original Dark Empire audio drama.
Now we're talking. Oh, yeah. There's the problem with that, though, if you're listening on audio or reading the text, is you don't have the art of, Palps looking like this.
Ripped.
Imagination's a wonderful
Quite
thing.
ripped. Absolutely. Any others, Meg? That exhaust our list? There's one more, I think. There it is.
Oh my God.
No, not actually a Legends book, but almost was. This was just for you, Meg. Her favorite.
I think everyone should point out what's so special about that cover.
Oh my God.
Because it's subtle. It's subtle.
Jedi Luke holding a cup of noodles in his left hand.
Holding it like a basketball.
Yeah.
Whoever is responsible for this, I know who you are, and I just want to talk.
I'm quite proud. This was, I think it was my idea. I don't know.
Of course it was.
I can't remember. It was yesterday. It was a crazy day. It's an absolute blur. I actually consider this a quite strong cover, other than the fact that Luke kind of has like this weird like open mouth thing like this. Ready? That's for our audio listeners. He's just got his mouth open like he's looking confusedly into the distance.
Ever so slightly agape.
Yeah, perfect description. Well, I'm excited for these. Hey, everybody, I know we've joked a little bit with these. It's been fun. We've had some fun with this. Let us know, though, if you've got some serious ideas on what books you think should belong in the collection. Let us know. I saw some good ones over in the Legends Books Discord channel yesterday. All kinds of good recommendations that I don't have pulled up right here, right now, and I apologize for that. But I'm so excited for this and can't wait to see the sales reflect the fact that we still have Legends interest, right? We still have Legends interest, and very excited for this in Lucasfilm's 50th anniversary. Now, in today's episode, we are, of course, talking about one of the sadder kind of, things that happens from time to time in the world of publishing. Not every book that is conceptualized actually makes it to print. Of course, we just had this happen in recent weeks. In recent Star Wars news, Adam Christopher's Mandalorian book was canceled. Did you guys catch wind of this? It's kind of sad, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these cancellations and they really affect the author as well. We'll talk more about it.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. Good point to make, because we're not entitled to any of these fictional stories. Real people get paid real money in order to take real time out of their real lives to write these. This is also a company owned by people who are not the writers themselves, not necessarily the creatives. This has to fit into a larger narrative. There's marketing concerns and publishing, getting the books to fit onto the pages in just the right way, and you got to get them to the printing press. And obviously with the COVID-19 pandemic, we just saw how that was shut down for a couple of months. So there's all kinds of different factors, all kinds of different people around along the chain where one thing can go wrong and a book can fall by the wayside. I want to be really clear. We as Legends fans are not entitled to any of these books. If you wish that some of these books were actually written and published and reach their final form, you can voice that without harassing the powers that be in the publishing industry, right? That's not the Jedi way. Let's put light into the galaxy and not hate. Do you think that about sums it up, Freddie?
Yeah, it really does, right? Like you're lucky enough to get what you're getting now, and the fact that they're making these new books, and there's reasons for everything. There's business reasons for why they pick certain things, why they cancel certain things. Looking in hindsight for some of these stories, you might see the overall timeline and vision, 10 years from now, where they were thinking about these things currently. So, it is what it is, and you just have to realize that even in let's just say my work, right? Jobs get scrapped. You don't always work on them, and that's just the nature of business, and that's just how it is, right?
Yeah, attachment. It's almost like attachment is the problem here. And we should all.
In the case of a Mandalorian book, Del Rey have said that Adam Christopher's now working on a new Star Wars project. So it was never about quality. It was obviously about behind the scenes stuff we'll never know about, and
that's okay.
All it means is we have something new coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can dream. And there's fan fiction. All right. So there's nothing holding you back from writing your own book. That's the fun thing here. This is a fictional galaxy. None of these are true stories. And these stories can change. They can evolve. Things happen. Sometimes real life intersects with this fictional universe in a way where a book falls by the wayside. And in the case with these 10 books we're going to be talking about on today's episode, some of these do, in fact, fall by the wayside. Some of them exist with cover art that was made and finished. Sometimes we've got nothing more than an idea or a description or a rough outline. And in the case of a couple of these, the book was written and never made it to the shelves. And we're going to talk in detail. And what I would like to consider, we're making Legends history today, guys. We are going to be doing a round table. We are the first people ever in the history of the world to do a round table on this Star Wars book. This is Heart of the Jedi. Of course, I printed it myself just because I had a concussion, couldn't look at the screen, needed to have it on actual paper, and I wanted it for my shelves. Of course, the author, Kenneth C. Flint, put it out on the internet. He's just like, hey, I don't want any money for this. I just want Legends fans to be able to see what could have been. And I said, okay, I see your free book, and I raise you a round table. And so here we are on today's episode. We are going to get into a brief discussion, maybe not the two-part, 2-3 hour round table over this. We are going to do the first ever. This is exciting, isn't it, Freddie? We're the first people ever to do a round table podcast over Heart of the Jedi.
Yeah, I'm excited. Never released. Truly, contract was never even drafted. So this is a Lost Legends book for sure.
Yeah, Trevor makes a good point in the Slack here that this was published for free on a website. The only reason I haven't said the website's name, Trevor, is I don't have it off the top of my head. Where was this published, Trevor?
Are we
yeah, you can say it.
Say it.
We didn't ask permission.
So the
it's
website
fine.
is StarWarsTimeline.net.
Okay. Yeah. So this entire book is available there. Kenneth C. Flint partnered with them to just release this out into the world. Thanks, guys, for, of course.
I do need to point out that it is a Star Wars Timeline website. Our Utini timeline is far better.
Both in terms of accuracy and beauty, but we don't have our own exclusive Star Wars
especially
book.
Beauty.
First on the list, we've got 10 we're going to be talking about today. First on the list is something I just recently learned about and is really tragic that we didn't get this book. In fact, Lee Brackett, who's famous for having been one of the script writers on The Empire Strikes Back, She was signed on to write either a Leia book or a Leia trilogy. I don't remember. It was going to be in tandem with Brian Daley's Han Solo trilogy. And then she passed away tragically before she could get around to writing these. Wouldn't it have been amazing in Legends history to get an equally good and equally important trilogy about Leia at the same time that we got one about Han?
I've never heard this.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
This is completely brand new information to me.
I love surprising Trevor. May she rest in peace.
Yeah.
Lee Brackett was an absolute legend in the Star Wars universe. Of course, being a woman of color who contributed to The Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back absolutely has the best writing out of any Star Wars movie, second only maybe to Attack of the Clones, but is great for the fact that there were some truly visionary people working on the writing in that film, and Lee Brackett's one of them. I would have loved to have had this. May she rest in peace. Freddie, what's next on the list of the Legends books that almost were?
Yeah, we've got the Nightfall trilogy, which it seemed as if there's a lot of development, the cancellation. They've got the plot all lined up. I'm looking at the Star Wars fandom website at the moment, and what do you think about this one? It's a 3-book cycle.
I think a lot of it, because I know we had covers for that book, and it was supposed to focus on Danny Quaid because it was part of a new Jedi Order.
We might have a cover for this. Do you have this one, Meg? Nightfall? Keep talking, Trevor. You're good.
Keep talking.
But I think a lot of it was condensed into the Dark Tide duology by Michael A. Stackpole, because he was due to write this. So I think he essentially removed the Danny Quaid subplot and reformatted what he had. That's one.
There's that great Legends art. I love that new Jedi Order art. But do you think Fabio is there?
Ooh,
is that Zek?
That's some nice long hair. That's got to be the Jedi. Yeah, Zek. I think it's Zek. Yeah.
I think this ended up as the Dark Tide duology.
Okay.
So we may not have got all of it, but we got some of it.
This, of course, was going to be 3 books: Jedi Storm, Jedi Fire, and Jedi Blood, which is great. I love those names. Okay, the Jedi Knight's name is Jorwalin. Yeah, so not Zek. Zek is the other long-haired, dark and broody, super muscular Legends man from the new Jedi Order. Excuse me. My apologies. Of course, I don't feel too broken up about this because New Jedi Order is already 19 books long. I'm not crying about the fact that it wasn't 22 books long. Are you, Freddie?
No. I think we're good.
Okay, Trevor, what is next on the list?
So, Escape from Dagu, or Dagu. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it.
Dagu.
So this would be a Dagu.
They call it Daju.
So this would have been a Clone Wars. This would have been the Clone Wars novel. William C. Deitz, who actually wrote the Kyle-Katarn graphic novellas from back in the day to go with the Jedi Knight video games. And I remember there was a whole synopsis that was released for this. I think this was fairly far along in the schedule as well until it got cancelled.
Yeah.
I don't remember too much about it, but the picture reminds me that it was about Shakti. I think she was imprisoned and someone had to break her out. But yeah, so this was one of the Clone Wars novels that was supposed to come out as part of that multimedia program.
Yeah, you can tell that the art is actually quite close to the final version, if not the final version itself. So this was pretty far along compared to some of the other books. I have heard rumors that there is a manuscript out there on the internet. I have not verified just how legitimate it is, but I will be after the show for sure. This is interesting because honestly, there's just not enough female representation in, who get their own novel, like where they are the main character in Legends. So I would have liked to have seen this about Shakti for that reason. Also love William C. Deitz's Dark Forces trilogy. Really, really love those. I know a lot of people don't, but there's some of my most beloved Star Wars books, at least the audio dramas. I've not made it through the actual graphic novels themselves. The plot synopsis on this is interesting. that the shroud of the dark side has fallen and the clone wars have begun. Thousands of solar systems are defecting to the separatist confederacy of independent systems led by the charismatic fallen Jedi Master Count Dooku. But the threat of the Galactic Republic does not end there, for the malevolent Count answers to a shadowy Sith Lord, blah, blah, blah. You get it, sinister agenda. The swamp planet Daegu, a remote place where the Confederacy has chosen to build a military base using prisoners of war, seethes with discontent. The slave laborers, including clone troopers, are determined to escape, and the native reptilian Rybets have sworn to regain their freedom. Count Dooku has learned that among the prisoners is a courier with information that could bring down the Republic. Dooku has selected Artel Dark. Don't you just love that the bad guy's name is Dark?
Yeah.
A most cunning and capable Dark Jedi to apprehend the courier, but Artel Dark doesn't know that Shak Ti, the legendary Jedi Master, is among the prisoners, nor can he fathom how awesome a weapon the desire for liberty can be, even against seemingly impossible odds. Sounds interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah. Especially.
That's a great synopsis.
Yeah. Especially the Rybits. Can't wait to see them.
Excellent. Third on our list of canceled Star Wars books is the Monsters and Aliens trilogy. It would have been by Robert J. Sawyer. It was originally a trilogy of novels in 1995 that was canceled. It would have been the first book in the trilogy would have been called Alien Exodus. Really kind of interesting. The idea is that there's a trilogy that has humans from the 25th century Earth displaced.
Yes.
You've heard of this?
This is the one that ties Star Wars back into real world.
Yeah, you've heard of this?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm not sad that we didn't get this, but kind of love the early to mid 90s for really not understanding Star Wars.
Yeah.
The first book got published. There's a published book.
Oh, okay.
Last minute, they kind of drew it away from Star Wars.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm sure it's called Alien Exodus, and only the first got published. And it was supposed to detail how humans populated planets like Tatooine and Corellia and Alderaan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's madness.
I'll be checking out eBay after this, trying to find that sucker. Excellent. Excellent. Freddie, next on the list is Blood Oath. What is this?
Yeah. So Blood Oath, it's as Cunningham described it. I believe that's the author.
Yeah, Elaine Cunningham.
Yeah, it's an adventure story that also contained political intrigue, humor, and romance. And this one looks pretty interesting. I think a lot of these books, even though they did get canceled, some of their stories made it into canon. Maybe it made it into a new or a different story, or maybe a Jedi file of some sort that they used to do for marketing. But yeah, what do you think about this one?
I love it. Look at that cover. It's got Zek looking big and proud. There's Zek. See, he was bound to make an appearance. Got a little Zek.
Yeah.
Got a couple of roguish looking ladies here. Love the green font on the cover. If you're an audio listener, I'm sorry. We've got some cover images on some of these. This is excellent. Excellent. I love Zach. Would have liked to have seen him, basically get his own full length, where he is the main character, New Jedi Order book. Is it New Jedi Order? Or is it after New Jedi Order? 2009?
I think this was an in-between because a lot of the storyline carried over into the Legacy of the Force series. So when Zek turned up, there was a whole backstory that this book was supposed to be about, but then
so I'm reading that this
we got
it was set 2 years after Invincible.
Okay. Oh wow. So even
so maybe it's between Legacy and Fate.
Yeah. That would be a good point to have a Zek story. This looks good. Elaine Cunningham, she wrote, let's see, Dark Journey. Is that right?
She wrote a short story. Yep. And she wrote The Crystal.
Okay.
A short story with Jaina Solo as well, possibly.
Interesting. Yeah, this one looks interesting to me. It might be my top 3 or 4 that I would have liked to have seen. Now, Trevor, you're making a case to nix the next book from the list. I'm instead going to make you talk about it. Tell us about supernatural encounters.
I'm sending Jared these messages in Slack. I mean, he's just calling me on it. That's twice.
We've got a 10-book list. We're not about to cut one and have 9.
So the next book on Jared's list is Supernatural Encounters, The Trial and Transformation. And I noticed he hadn't included the whole title here, so I have to do the rest of it off the top of my head.
There's more.
The Trial and Transformation of Ahol Hextradon,
Extra fun. Yeah.
who is he's the in-universe Star Wars historian where all the West End game stuff, the Galaxy Guides, were narrated by him.
Oh, that's so great.
Now, Supernatural Encounters is a sequel to Cult Encounters, which is an in-universe blog post that was published on the official site. This new one, I say new, it's old, but maybe getting released soon. It's being done away from official licensing.
Okay.
He had the work done. He has since revisited the work to enhance it and add more to
Has
it.
he really?
And will be releasing it for the world to see.
No way.
But it's no longer officially licensed.
Yeah.
The original text was, but never saw the light of day. So for me, it's in a kind of gray area now about. It's almost fan fiction,
Right? Yeah. All of this is
because
almost fan
everything
fiction
he's
now.
had
Right.
isn't officially licensed. Don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to it. And everything I've read about this project, it sounds so dense. It's essentially an entire history of the more supernatural, almost celestial aspect of the Star Wars universe, going back thousands of years before A New Hope, right up to, so it'll cover ancient Sith ghosts and demons and going right up to Abeloth. And really, really dense. I think it's something like 3,000 pages of it.
Oh,
that's my check.
no. I won't be reading that at all.
It's a crazy, crazy thing. That's for hardcore readers only.
Oh, wow. Yeah, for sure. All right. Now, Meg, I want you to talk about the next one on the list. This one is in particular one I want to toss over to you because you, of course, came on Legends Lookback way back in the day for 2 episodes covering 4 Republic Commando, Imperial Commando books by Karen Traviss. Obviously, we talked about this a little bit on those shows. You can go back and listen. They were great because they've got Meg. And we are talking about what book that was canceled from that series?
Yeah, the Imperial Commando 2. So like when it went from Republic Commando to Imperial Commando, there was one of those, and then there were no more. There was supposed to be. But we only got one. So
Karen Traviss has on her blog talked about what she had planned for this book. So if you at least want a basic idea of the major plot movements, she does talk about those. So that is something you could look into if it's interesting to you. I know this is probably out of this entire list. Trevor, Freddie, do you think that this is the most, maybe besides Sword of the Jedi, like the most decried canceled Legends book?
I think so.
It's probably the most controversial.
Yeah.
Controversial? Okay. Definitely. Of course, she was also slated to write a Boba Fett book that was canceled. That's not on the list. I guess that could have bumped Supernatural Encounters. So, now we've got 11. So we got to cancel something else. No. All right, we'll leave it on there. That would be interesting to me. Of course, we're about to get this new Republic Commando collectible deluxe edition thing. So I'm especially like, I would love to have this book. I don't think it ever existed in final form. I don't think she had actually written the book. Although, a lot of people would beg to differ on that. I believe she herself has gone on record in saying she never actually sat down to write the whole thing. So don't go trying to dig for it on the internet. Next on the list, of course, I already hinted at it, is what book, Freddie?
Sword of the Jedi. So this one I had no idea about, and it kind of makes sense why they canceled it. This was written by Christy Golden, not to be confused with Chris Golden or any of the other Goldens in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, Christopher Golden.
Yeah. But this was canceled as Star Wars was transitioning over to Disney Publishing and featured Jedi Master Jaina Solo Fell herself and her husband,
So cool.
Jagged Fell. Yeah, this would have been really cool to see. It looks like they had some cover art, and the cover art itself looks amazing. Very, very modern. It happened in the chronology of everything. This was around 44 ABY, just to give you guys an idea.
Yeah, way late in the timeline.
Yeah, and
yeah, this was a big one.
Yeah, this was a big one. This was supposed to be a trilogy, right?
Yeah, and it was all based off the fact that Jaina was knighted Sword of the Jedi by Luke Skywalker during the New Jedi Order series, and there was so much hype for this. And then that's when the buyout happened, and we just never saw it.
Yeah. Now, there was just yesterday in the Legends Books Discord channel with all this new Legends fervor, there was some debate and discussion about this, about like, well, hey, just because we're getting new reprints of these old Legends novels, do you think we could get some of these old Legends novels that were canceled released? And of course, our buddy Tom from Del Rey jumped in on the discussion very, very tactfully and respectfully, I thought, to kind of talk about some of these rumors and these hopes. And he said specifically about Sword of the Jedi that Sword of the Jedi was never completed. It was never written. A fully fleshed outline doesn't even exist. Perhaps, there's bits of an outline, general concepts, but that's all that got made. And so, it really, there's rumors that it exists, but, from the behind the scenes, pulling the curtain back, it doesn't. But that's not to say that we can't want this. It's not to say that this wouldn't have been interesting, but we got a ton of Legends books in continuity. I mean, I've been trying to get through the entire history of Legends books. I started 10 years ago, back at the beginning, and close to finishing. But I mean, there's so much to read. It's okay that this ultimately didn't come to light. I think
Sword of the Jedi itself has become a legend.
It really is, absolutely.
It really had the story of the book, the trilogy is a legend itself.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Trevor, talk about Lightsider, the next book on our list. I've messed up the numbering at this point in the show notes, so I apologize. Lightsider, of course, is of particular interest to me because it ties into Dark Empire, doesn't it?
It does. Your favorite series, and Lightsider was supposed to be a novel, I believe.
Novella, right?
It's been a while since I looked into
just
Lightsider.
a novella.
It was due to take place between Dark Empire 2 and Dark Empire. No, between Dark Empire 1 and 2.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've read it. So it's to do with Luke Skywalker meeting Cam Solusar?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce his name, Jared?
I say Solusar.
Solusar?
Yeah. Sir Solusar.
They almost bond over a game of chess.
Right.
So it's almost like the Star Trek 3D holo chess.
Yeah, it's like it's force chess. It's chess, but when you move a piece, you have a force vision.
So I think the original plan was this to be released in the West End Games Adventure Journal to bridge the gap between the two stories. Okay. For whatever reason, it wasn't released, and I know that the writer of the Dark Empire series, Tom Veitch, hasn't always had the best relationship with Lucasfilm. Right. But this is another one of those things where if you want to look hard enough in the dark web, it is out there. It's there for you to read as a sort of a 16-page script version, and it fleshes out the gap a bit, but it's not a fully fledged story.
What I read was 64 pages. I mean, it's not a full book, but it is longer than a short story. It's right in that sweet spot of something you can read in an afternoon. It's not as good as Dark Empire, unfortunately, in my opinion.
What is?
Exactly.
I know that Tom Veitch, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name. Veitch. He did condense it though, right, into a 2-issue Empire's End. The plot.
No,
of
it's
Lightsider.
not the same. It's not the same.
But it's interesting how it seems like George. I'm looking at the notes here. It looks like he approved of it before he had a contract, and once he found out that he approved of it without a contract, he terminated it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is.
But that is another Lost Legends, is that Dark Empire 3 was originally a 6-issue story, and kind of at the last minute they got told to condense it, which is why we only got the 2-issue Empire's End.
Yeah.
The whole story up.
So interesting.
No, Empire's End is not quite as good as the other two in the series, of course, because it was the Cliff's Notes version, and it doesn't have the iconic Cam Kennedy watercolor art either. Yeah. All right, we are getting close to the end of our list. We've talked about some amazingly interesting books and some books that I'm not too disappointed got canceled. Trevor, you said there's one more you want to add that you want to surprise us with here.
There is. So I don't know who's aware of the Ryder Wyndham Adventures in Hyperspace young adult novels.
You lost me somewhere in there.
So in Legends, we had these, we wouldn't really even class them as young adult novels. They're junior novels, the Jedi Apprentice books, the Jedi Quest books. Well, there's 2 Adventures in Hyperspace books written by Ryder Wyndham. I can't quite see the covers from from here. But anyway, there was 2 more commissioned. It was a 4-book contract. And the 3rd book got cancelled at the last minute, but it was fully written. And again, this book is available if you go looking hard enough. It's a Han and Chewie adventure before A New Hope. Jabba's involved. It's called Adventures in Hyperspace, The Big Switch. And if you find it on the internet, you can find that there's actually a synopsis for the 4th book as well. The whole book was written, illustrated, but due to low sales on the first 2 books, they just decided never to publish it.
Okay. Wow. Trevor coming in with his trivia. Gotta love it. Excellent. Now, finally on our list, we are actually going to be covering just a handful of questions here about a book that we actually got a chance to read, and that is the much anticipated, highly hyped, The Heart of the Jedi. Let's go ahead and talk about this cover first. I mean, Kenneth C. Flint does go on the record in saying this is not the final rendition of the cover, but it was, the early concept version of this. This really fits in well, doesn't it, with like the early Bantam era style of covers?
Yeah, this book screams Bantam era.
Yeah, Drew Sturgeon did some great work for Legends.
Is this Drusen?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe it is.
Just looking at it.
Wow. It's excellent. I love the cover. That's part of the reason I needed to have it printed. And I've thought about getting it blown up into a massive poster, let's be honest. I love this cover. It's once again, look at this face that Luke's got going on here, looking off in the distance with his mouth open, looking confused. It's very iconic.
So slightly agape.
Slightly agape, a Star Wars story. This, of course, comes from the author Kenneth C. Flint, I believe an Irish author. I could be wrong. He also mentions having gone to college in Nebraska. So, who knows? But this, of course, was supposed to come out in 1993. He had sent a draft to his editor in 1992. It was supposed to be set immediately after Return of the Jedi. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, doesn't Truce Bakura happen immediately after Return of the Jedi? And Freddie, let's talk about this for a second, man. Truce Bakura is the book that bumped this from the list. The legend goes is that the editor who was, handing out jobs here for what Star Wars books were next in the Bantam timeline. They're just getting started with these books. Of course, Heir to the Empire comes out in 1991. It's fairly early in this. Had signed on Kenneth C. Flint, and then instead gave a friend book 1 in the chronology, which bumped this basically from chronology, right? Freddie, are you disappointed? Are you disappointed that Truce Bakura bumped this from Legends?
Well, I guess in an alternate timeline, this is the book I picked up in another universe, right? Heart of the Jedi, because this is the one that got picked.
Yeah, that's in the Baron Stainbear's universe, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a fairly interesting story because it seems like it was just all political, and the only reason why one got picked over the other was because of that. It wasn't, when you read this book and the content, I don't think it went through the full process of the editing and whatnot.
Right.
But
no.
But as it reads now, it's not a terrible book. The Heart of the Jedi. I haven't finished it. I've got about 100 some pages left. I got to the part we'll talk about hopefully soon. With
I know what you're talking about. I'm so excited. Yes. This book, of course, as it was released on StarWarsTimeline.net, was in 368 pages. 306. I'm so close. 369. What a perfect. Yeah, 368 pages. So it's a good read. It's pretty breezy, not the most difficult prose to get through. It really struck me as the same kind of writing style as Kevin J. Anderson's Jedi Academy trilogy, like the same kind of breezy, quick, fast read. This, of course, is the basic idea is, hey, there's a truce happening between the New Republic and the Empire, and yet there's one Imperial named Thrakis. Is that right? Tharkus,
yeah.
Who doesn't want this. He, of course, sends a changeling, kind of like what we had in Attack of the Clones. I forget the actual name of the species, a shapeshifter, to follow Luke and impersonate different people on his journey in order to ultimately help Tharkus get his hands on this infamous Heart of the Jedi. And that's where I just got in the book. I'm like 60 pages from finishing. Luke goes way off into the unknown regions, makes some friends along the way. They get blown up. It's a whole thing. It's got everything. It's got Luke jousting on the back of a bantha against sand people. It's got an Ewok smuggler who speaks basic, but I'm pretty sure the author is writing him to have an Australian accent.
Yes.
It's got R2D2 giving Luke a bath, for crying out loud. I mean, this book is amazing. Amazing. You never got to that point, did you, Trevor? You missed it. You didn't get to the bath.
I couldn't finish it. I'm sorry. I tried. I really tried. And it gives you an idea of how different the entire Star Wars publishing could have gone, because back in the early 90s, we were on that pivot. We had the Thrawn trilogy on one side. We had the Jedi Prince series on the other side. And that's kind of where things were going. They were both published around the same time. This would have come out right in the middle of that. And that would have tipped that scale one way.
Yeah.
I'm personally very glad we went the other.
I don't agree. I actually prefer this. I'm going to go on the record and say I prefer this to the Truce at Bakura. So every Legends Lookback reader needs to go get their hands on this and read it, and then we're going to have a showdown. I want to know the vote on who thinks that Truce at Bakura is the better book, who thinks Heart of the Jedi is the better book. Are you Team Jared or Team Freddy? Obviously, Trevor is Team Freddy. Meg, you're going to have to read this thing, and you're going to have to join my side so that we can level the scales.
No. I mean, yay.
What sounds most interesting to you, Meg? R2 giving Luke a bath, Luke jousting with sand people on the back of banthas, or what was the other thing I said? Oh, did I mention that Luke goes back to Obi-Wan Kenobi's hut to retrieve a force-sensitive bowl?
What?
Oh, the bowl. Yes, there's a bowl.
Which of those sounds most interesting? Which of those makes you want to read this the most?
I think that's when it lost me, was with the Force Bowl.
All of the above. Let's
Hey,
go
R2,
for
a little
it.
higher.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm going to actually read that excerpt. All right, I'm going to read that excerpt. While I look for it, I do want to say, of course, that it's got some really fun things where Luke goes back to Tatooine to basically retrace his steps in terms of...
And there was a lot of similarities between that and the beginning of Shadows of the Empire.
Okay.
About his return to Tatooine and back to Obi-Wan Kenobi's house. There was a lot of similarities with those scenes.
That's interesting.
I don't know whether that's an idea that they'd asked Steve Perry to revisit because it came across so well in this book, or whether he just did it independently.
Definitely some of the stronger stuff in this.
Came across to me. Yeah.
Luke goes back to the Mos Eisley Cantina and has a rematch with Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba.
What?
He's like, hey, I don't like you any more than last time. It's amazing.
Yes. I blocked all this out of my memory. It was only a couple of weeks ago.
No, I'm laughing. And it sounds like I'm making fun of it. I'm not. I liked it. It was, the author is so clearly in on the joke. Like, he knows that it's goofy. It's intentionally funny, I think. All right, I think. Now, I'm going to read the excerpt that Freddie is hinting at. All right, here we go. This is from page 228, where R2 gives Luke a bath. He finished sponging off his front and looked to the silently waiting droid. Hey, R2, would you mind getting my back from me? He asked. The droid obediently rolled forward to the edge of the tub. A small hatch in his midsection popped open, and a rod with a claw end telescoped out. The claw took hold of a long handle of a brush sitting on the tub's side. I need some saxophone music playing in the background. Maybe some candle lighting. Can you do that in post, Meg? It moved the brush forward to contact Luke's back. Luke shifted around to get in the best position, giving directions as he did. Okay, R2, a little higher. A little higher. Lift. Down. Ah, right there. The droid began scrubbing in a vigorous up and down motion. Oh, easy. Not so rough, R2, Luke cautioned. I don't want the skin off, and there are a few tender spots back there. The young Jedi's back was indeed much marked with bruises and lacerations from his recent scrapes. The droid reduced the pressure of its brushing and avoided the spots too. Better, Luke said. Ah, very good. All right, I'm going to stop for now.
I need to quote Meg. What is happening?
Heart of the Jedi is happening. The heart of the Jedi, the back of the Jedi, so we could call it. The bath of the Jedi? All right. I've got a couple more excerpts. First, let's talk about the first chapter. Okay, the first chapter, you've at least read that, right, Trevor?
Yes,
This
yeah.
chapter is so oddly disjointed from the rest of the book, which makes me think, as a good Bible scholar, that with source criticism here, that it's added later. I think it's a later addition in order to try to give punch to the opening. It reads almost just like the season finale of season 2 of The Mandalorian, doesn't it? Luke is just slicing and dicing, and he's got the black cloak and the hood down, and it's like told where they're watching the green lightsaber blazing, and then the chapter ends with whoosh, Luke pulling back the hood and revealing he is in fact Luke Skywalker, and he is a Jedi.
Yeah.
I mean, how similar was
And
that
was
for
some,
you?
that was some really interesting stuff. That was some interesting stuff about this book, is about how Luke, he's pushing back against the whole hero of a rebellion thing. He doesn't want to be going around killing people, but the war has put him in that position. And I thought that was a really interesting take, that in Legends, we don't see that Luke until much later in the timeline.
Yeah. I think
so. That was a really interesting.
I feel like he takes more of the side of the canon Luke, where he's all of the drama and trauma that he went through. He's trying to sort through it, right, and he's trying to figure it out. And Han Solo and Leia are trying to get him back to join the group again and go on the adventures, and he just wants to chill out and figure out what's going on. It's almost like he's having PTSD.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
And it, in some ways, it adds up plot-wise for me in the grander scheme of Luke's arc in Legends, because we just covered the Jedi Academy trilogy. In this, Luke says, I don't have a right to push my beliefs onto anyone until I have learned more about the Jedi, until I have sorted out whether or not I actually want to perpetuate the Jedi Order. And so he goes on this crazy quest, and it gets wacky, but the heart of that idea is compelling to me. I feel like Luke needs that extra step before the Jedi Academy trilogy, which I haven't really found satisfying in Legends. It's okay. I've got it all up in my mind, brain, and my head canon, my head legends, as I like to call it. But
the other thing I think the author does is capture the voice of Leia and Han brilliantly in this book.
Yeah,
the banter, the back and forth. I think he does that. There's one bit where Han turns around and calls Leia sweetheart, and she just says thank you, and he's like, for what? She's like, for not calling me princess.
Yeah.
And it was just a really nice moment.
And he was like, oh, I didn't. Sorry, princess. It's great. Absolutely great. I do want to, of course, talk about the villains in this book. Tharkus, in post-Return of the Jedi Legends, some of the Imperials waged war on the New Republic with a variety of strategies, right? Okay, you've got Thrawn. He wages war with artwork. Isart. No, okay. Now, Thrawn's actual plan is to find a crazy dark Jedi and manipulate him into using battle meditation for your fleet, find the lost fleet of dreadnoughts, and staff them with a clone army. Ingenious. Isart, of course, her idea is to poison Coruscant with a deadly disease and hand it over to the New Republic, then hijack the galaxy's supply of Bacta. Pretty ingenious plot. Dala, cause as much damage as you can with your leftover Star Destroyers and various other super weapons. Death Stars, Star Destroyers, doesn't matter. Let's blow stuff up. Tharkus?
And then become leader of the entire Republic.
Yeah. We'll get
Let's not forget that.
Tharkus, his plan is this. Befriend a monster who swallows your enemies. Also employ a shapeshifter to follow Luke Skywalker and try to bamboozle Luke into giving you access into controlling the very Force itself. Out of all these post-Return of the Jedi villains, how do you think Tharkus fits in? We didn't even mention, Palpatine. His plan is just like, keep coming back. Take over Leia's unborn children. All right, I don't want to talk about that. What do you think of Tharkus's plan, guys?
It's very Imperial. It fits.
It really seemed to me a lot like who's the villain in Glove of Darth Vader? The guy with the glove of Darth Vader. The guy with the Force, the lightning fingers, sparkle fingers.
Oh,
not Trioculus.
Trioculus. No, not Trioculus.
Trioculus.
The other one, the villain, the one who had the dastardly look on his face.
Oh man, I
You've lost me.
Yeah, we'll get there. His plan is like he keeps using all these artificial methods into backdooring his way into controlling the Empire. What is his name?
But the other thing about this book, which is weird, is that the Imperial Senate exists.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it was disbanded in A New Hope.
Yeah.
And you got all these sort of senators suing for peace. And I was thinking, there shouldn't be any senators.
Is it Grand Moff Hissa? Is that who we're
I think
talking
it might
about
be
here?
Hissa. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Hissa. Oh
Yeah.
man, look at this guy's face. Just Google him, everybody. He's got like the sharp teeth. Oh, he's amazing. Yeah, so he really struck me a lot like Tharkus in here. Kind of similar to have these different versions, 3 different versions, honestly, if you count Heart of the Jedi, of what the initial truce after Return of the Jedi would have looked like between the Imperials and the New Republic. You got Gleba Darth Vader. It's got that big truce scene in the stadium with the sparkle fingers. You've got the truce at Bakura with the dinosaurs. And then you've got this where there's one Imperial who, of course, doesn't want to play along. Other Imperials want to see the truce successful, so they befriend Leia and go off on the Falcon on the mission. And some of them try to woo Leia, and Han gets all salty about it. It's excellent. Now, there's one other character we've got to talk about. I've mentioned him briefly. That's Thatch, the Ewok pirate.
So good.
Is he the best forgotten Legends character ever, do you think?
I think they need to make at least I'd like to hear an audio version of what Thatch would sound like, because I have a feeling you're right. He does sound Australian. But I'd like to see a little. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna take like a Wicket and do some painting, make a Thatch Ewok carded figure.
Let's see your Thatch fan art. The Australian, Luke's Australian basic speaking Ewok pirate pilot, who's Luke's bestie in Heart of the Jedi.
Yep. It's so great.
I've got a little rant here for a second. All right, like set a timer for 30 seconds. Don't let me go too long on this. I've got a bit of a hang up in Star Wars whenever Ewoks can speak basic. I've been trying to watch the Ewoks TV show from the 80s that just hit Disney Plus, and I freaking hate it. I mean, I just can't stand listening to Ewoks speak English. I want them to say yub nub, and that's about it. All right. I don't want to see my Ewoks doing anything other than like hang gliding, slingshotting, dancing, playing drums on stormtrooper helmets. I don't want to see.
Listen, I've got to throw this.
I don't want to hear them
since
talking.
you're talking with Disney.
It's in English.
Since you're talking Disney Plus, have you got to Caravan of Courage or Battle
Watch
of
them
Endor
tonight.
yet?
Watch
I
them
put
tonight.
Caravan of Courage
Yeah.
on.
At least the
I
first
put
one.
Caravan of Courage on for 10 minutes yesterday. It's a ride. It's a ride.
We've contemplated doing.
If you want to talk mouths slightly agape, the Ewok puppets just have a fixed teeth grin. They have no moving lips. It's terrifying.
We're talking about doing a Legends Lookback Caravan of Courage watch along, where we do an audio commentary. Possibly, we'll see. I'm gonna watch it tonight and see. My wife doesn't know we're watching it tonight, but we're watching it tonight, and we're gonna see how it goes. All right, guys. I don't love it when Ewoks can talk. Put it on my business card. Put it in my Twitter bio. Ewoks should speak Ewokese, not basic. All right. Like where are they learning basic? Like there was a recent canon book where there was an Ewok hanging out with Han Solo. Was he like a slicer? Hated it.
Yeah,
I don't want my Ewoks hacking. I don't want them smuggling. Yeah. Peekpa. I don't want my Ewoks doing anything but eating Imperial corpses. All right. What's your favorite part of the book? Whether you finished it or not, did you have a favorite moment?
Well, I mean, the R2 bath part was when you told me about that, I had literally just read it and I was like, that was the best part I ever read. That passage, right there.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so clearly written as like intentionally goofy cringe. Like surely, right? Yeah. Surely it is. Okay. Trevor, did you have a favorite moment?
The opening for me. The opening is really striking. It's they invade a Star Destroyer. There's lots going on. It's our 3 old heroes working together as a team, being heroic, and it's really good.
I think
it
really is what a lot of people wanted to see in the sequel trilogy, right? The big 3 kicking butt and taking names, and Luke looking edgy like we got in the Mandalorian finale. All right, here's one of my favorite moments. I love the Bantha jousting the Tusken Raiders. That was excellent. George, the one note, legendarily, that George Lucas gave on this book was this. He didn't want the Sand People to reveal their faces. You got to keep the Sand People under wraps. That's the one thing George Lucas had to say. And legendarily, right? That's as the legend goes. Here's a quote, though, from page 241, one of my favorite quotes in the book. All right. Commander Gek looked around to Luke, smiling gloatingly. Looks like we have you in our clutches at last, you murdering religious freak.
Oh.
I love that line. I read it to my wife this morning at breakfast. It's like, "Good morning, honey. Listen to this." I kid you
That is
not.
great.
I loved it. I'm so close to finishing. Can't wait to get to it tonight. It'll either be before or after the Ewok adventure, but it's going to happen for sure. So if you want this book, of course, we don't have a Utini affiliate link. You have to get it on the internet. The author, of course, made this available for free. Let's spend a couple minutes here talking about the real world ramifications of this, though. Kenneth C. Flint has a couple of pages in the back of the book where he talks about how this came to be and what went wrong. And he basically says that his writing career ended after this. I mean, he's back at it now. He says he's still got some good years of writing left in him, but this really, really derailed his career. Freddie, do you want to talk about the real world implications of how this went wrong?
Yeah. So, I mean, let's think about how exactly this all went down, right? He had the book. He did not have a contract. So when Lucasfilm, Lucas Arts, I always forget.
LucasArts is the games. Yeah.
Yeah, the Lucasfilm, when the publishing, when they came down to the publishing, they went with Trusa Bakura, and they just saw this other book and said, okay, let's shelve it. It's done. We don't have to pay this guy. We don't have to do anything. There's no contract. So, the real life implications is when a person writes for Star Wars. Think about Timothy Zahn, for instance. How many fans follow his writing? How many fans see him in this high level franchise? Kevin J. Anderson even as well, and will go follow that author into a different franchise or a different, maybe their own books. In that case, and that's exactly what happened here, right? He had his big break, and then before he knew it, Bantam didn't respond to any of his messages. And this is in the 90s, guys. This is like snail mail and phone calls and fax machines.
Thankfully, he saved the floppy disks, though, so we could get this book all these years later. I really consider it a very brave move on his part to put this out for us as Legends fans, just purely for our enjoyment and for Star Wars history. You're a bit of a Star Wars archivist, Trevor. Are you glad this exists in the world?
Yeah, I am. Absolutely. I didn't even know until this leaked about a year ago, I think. And I had no idea this existed. And I pride myself on knowing a lot. So when something like this comes and takes me by surprise, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it was a good read too, at least for me. Let me know, did you like it more or less than Trusa Bakura? And hey, thank you to Kenneth C. Flint for putting this out in the world. The good news in all of this is he at least got to keep the $10,000 advance that they spotted him to write this book. So it would have been bad if they'd also not only not published this book, but sent him a bill for $10,000. By the way, George wants his money back. Well, this has been a ton of fun. That does it for this week. Thanks for joining us on Legends Look Back. Thank you to our incredible patrons who have helped make this show happen. If you would like your thoughts right on the show, if you want to let me know that I'm right and that this should have been in place of Trusa Bakura, email us at legendslookback@utini.com. You can interact with us in the Legends Look Back Discord channel, leave a comment on this episode on YouTube, or find us on Twitter. You can find us at Legends Look Back, or you can find Freddie at
Wake Up Freddy.
Meg
At McDowell.
Trevor.
I'm at Davey Todd.
Or me, I'm at Jared Q. Mays. If you're looking to buy some of these books and want to help support the show, obviously not these books. Look at the book on YouTube. Click the Amazon link in the profile, or of course, you can leave us a review and let us know what you think. Remember, everybody, especially with a topic as sensitive as this, people's livelihoods are on the line. All right, let's keep the Utini fan code and be a force for positivity in the fandom. May the force be with you.
This is a Utini broadcast.
Let's kick it off, show them all the things we can do. Love that song.